Hello and welcome to another video lesson from Epic Rehab. I'm Dr. Leonard Matheson. This is part 2 of a Clinical Research Consortium teleconference. This is an introduction for occupational therapists on the subject of executive dysfunction and work. Before we conclude this lesson, I need to say something about the importance of the occupational therapy approach to evaluation of executive dysfunction. OTs have been addressing executive dysfunction for more than 30 years. Led by the work of Dr. Carolyn and Dr. Dorothy Edwards, my former colleagues at the Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis program in occupational therapy. Carolyn and Dorothy developed the Kitchen Task Assessment, a simulation of activities of daily living sensitive to mild cognitive impairment in early senile dementia. The KTA provides basic structure by leaving room for latitude in executive function as the person undertakes the task. This allows the KTA to collect information about basic metacognitive components. The approach that Carolyn and Dorothy took in the KTA has greater efficacy for real-world tasks than does neuropsychological testing because it provides less structure. Lower levels of structure force the evaluee to provide executive function. In contrast, neuropsychological testing of component cognitive function is much more highly structured and standardized, leaving fewer opportunities for the evaluee's discretionary behavior. It's the discretionary behavior that we're interested in as indicators of the evaluee's available executive function. It's not that the neuropsychological data are useless, but that the neuropsychologist's strict focus on reliability has been necessary to discern very subtle differences that indicate underlying pathology. This is often called the bottom-up approach to the evaluation of cognitive impairment that allows inference about brain pathology, first developed by Ward Halstead and Ralph Reitan at the University of Chicago in the mid-1950s. It has been a crucial strategy for the ongoing development of neuroscience, but it does have limitations that show up when we try to use neuropsych data to predict work disability. And so, building on my earlier work at Rancho and at the Employment and Rehabilitation Institute of California, and following the KTA model of Carolyn and Dorothy at Washington University, I led a team of occupational therapists and OT grad students at WashU to develop structured work activity groups. Different from the KTA, borrowing from our work at Rancho and Eric, we built in Progressive Occupational Demand. Depending on the needs and abilities of the evaluee, we increase the demand in order to achieve constructive failure experiences. This gives us information about the limits of the evaluee's work capacity and also an opportunity to provide therapy as we help the client rebound from the constructive failure experience. We develop swag materials that are available online through Matheson Development. The first commercial swag to be made available through Matheson Development is the doll chair assembly task. This is based on a virtual business, the Goldilocks Chair Company, located in Prescott, Arizona. The Goldilocks Chair Company has 3 products, a papa chair, a mama chair, and a baby chair. The company has 4 employees that manufacture and sell these chairs and provide customer service. The employees also handle telephone messages and maintain a customer database. These are the 3 chairs with labeled parts. The task is to assemble one of the 3 chairs using unlabeled parts following a labeled model or an assembly manual. Using these 3 chairs, we can challenge the evaluee with 12 levels of occupational demand by interspersing the assembly task with telephone message recording. Messages are transcribed on telephone answer pads that have some information already supplied. Over the course of the client's involvement in neurorehabilitation, we can gradually increase the occupational demand to achieve constructive failure experiences. Let me show you how we use the DCAT with a client we will call Toby, who has experienced a concussion. This is the DCAT Level 12 situational assessment, the highest level of occupational demand. Toby is provided with a work surface, a labeled model, an assembly manual, a clipboard with a telephone message answer pad, and 2 pencils. Along with that, there is a bucket with the doll chair parts. He is given standardized instructions and observed while he attempts the assembly task interspersed with telephone message taking. Assembly errors and telephone message errors are measured, along with several behavioral indicators of executive dysfunction.
Toby, this is a timed test of your ability to assemble the doll chair as quickly as possible, exactly as the model. You can refer to the assembly manual or to the completed doll chair. While you are working, if you hear a telephone ring, immediately stop what you are doing. After the second ring, you will hear a recorded message. Record the information that is missing from the message form, starting with today's date. After you record the information, go back and complete the assembly of the doll chair as quickly as possible.
These video clips are excerpts from training videos that we provide to purchasers of the DCAT. We collect data on both metacognitive dysfunction and emotional behavioral dysfunction. This segment demonstrates metacognitive dysfunction having to do with Toby's limitations with planning and organization. Today's final video clip shows difficulties that Toby has with behavioral regulation. This area of executive dysfunction is actually not tested by neuropsychologists. Neuropsychological evaluations include personality tests such as the MMPI and the PAI to infer behavioral and emotional executive dysfunction. The problem with this approach is that these instruments are not designed for this purpose. They are measures of personality and psychopathology. They really don't measure executive dysfunction, but a proclivity to a particular type of behavior which may or may not be a reflection of concussion, stroke, brain injury, or brain disease. The occupational therapist's situational assessment data is absolutely indispensable in this area.
Malcolm, it's John. I received a shipment without the assembly instructions. Would you please fax them to me at 601-533-9395. My number is 601-533-0116. It's about 2:33. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Once the DCAT has been completed, the behavioral checklist is used to calculate a score that gives a general measure of employability. The measure has 5 levels that range from unemployable to competitively employable. The 3 levels of employable sheltered are dependent on the degree of accommodation that must be provided by an employer. So, thank you for your time and attention. Please subscribe to this channel to receive notices of additional video lessons. In the meantime, here are 2 useful bibliographic references of peer-reviewed studies conducted by myself and my colleagues and students. I also want to point you to a useful resource, the Cognitive Functional Capacity Evaluation Workshop, provided by my friend and colleague Tanya Percy with Matheson Educational and Training Solutions. You can find them online. Please get in touch with me if I can provide additional information. In the meantime, we will continue to do our best to live out our motto, to recognize and develop the value in each of us. Take care now.